Hello, this is Ron with Rising Sun Properties. Today we are back in Nabari. I recently posted a video of another home in this exact same area. And here is the home. It's pretty close to the last one that I posted. So from Nabari Station, it's about a 10-minute bus ride. It's 7.8 million yen, that's 55,000 USD, two-story 4S LDK built in 1992, about 109 square meters building, 189 total. So it does have a bit of garden or yard area. Here's the floor plan by request. Sorry, I keep forgetting to put them in there. I know that does help some people. This actually has two different garage or parking spaces rather that are covered, not garages. Those are rare here in Japan. And overall, this home is pretty nice. It's a little bit more expensive than the last one. It has some renovations done inside in the kitchen and also has a new roof that was put on about 2 years ago. As you can see, the house is also painted. Does need some landscaping done, so it would look a lot better once that's completed. But overall, for the price, I think it's a pretty good home. I didn't see too many issues going on. And that here you can see it's very similar to the last home as far as style goes, but no issues. Combined with the fact that it has a new roof put on, I think it's a pretty good home to consider if you're okay with the area. You know, it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Not in the middle of nowhere, it's Nabari, which is in Mie-ken, but it's not too attached to, you know, Osaka, Tokyo, some of the major cities that a lot of people like to live around. So here is the dining kitchen area. Pretty high. Bathroom. So plenty of headroom. This one's a little bit lower. Again, I'm right at 6 feet. I try to put those in the videos just so people can get an idea of how tall the doorways are. Some of the doorways in Japan can be quite short. I know from experience. I've hit my head on them plenty of times. There's one aircon in there. That one looks like you probably can keep it. It's left in the home, so I'm sure that it's okay to use. A lot of people probably want to put brand new ones in there. It's not hard to replace and get it removed. So pretty spacious here in the kitchen area. Taking a look underneath, looks okay. Right there's a little bit of something going on. Again, I'm not an expert, but I try to take a look while I'm here. And overall, looks dry. Looks like everything's solid and, you know, flush against each other. So hopefully there won't be too much of an issue. Built in 1992, it should be okay. You notice I put that on the wrong way, but got her fixed. Here's the kitchen. It has been upgraded at some point. Water is not on at this time. The last home that I showed here in Nabari had an older kitchen, so again, probably why this one's a little bit more expensive. You know, it has a new kitchen installed, or newer anyways, and that new roofing, which you'll see later in the video up on the second floor. So plenty of storage here in the kitchen. No dishwasher. Here's a place for your refrigerator. You can see that you could probably use an upgrading on some of the wallpaper. Here's a look out the kitchen door to the back patio. You have this covered area with a bit of a backyard that we'll get to at the end of the video. So nothing special, but nice to have. Some extra storage in the kitchen. Another tall doorway going into the shower area. So there's where you would put your washing machine. A little bit of storage off to the right. Window letting some light in. Here's the bathtub. Looks quite dated. Does have the panel there for autofill and reheating, so that's nice. And it is quite large per Japanese standards. So nothing special with the sink, but it doesn't need to be replaced. It's fine as is. These sliding shutters that open up to this other room downstairs, that aircon is older, would need to be replaced. Closet Don't recall seeing any water damage in this home, so that's promising. Homes this age, built in the early 90s, are usually okay. You still can find some structural issues. Something, when you start to worry is if you're in the early 80s or, even 60s, 70s, that's when things get a little bit more difficult and you will find a lot more issues with the structure, but early 90s should be okay. Couple photos of this room downstairs. Feels pretty spacious, and I know a lot of people want that komika Japanese style home, but those are going to be older and will come with issues. A home like this is a little bit more Western, you might say, but really feels like a home, and you're going to have less to worry about in the long run. So again, this area, that was a little soft there, but that's just storage area that might have been added on. This has 2 toilets. One upstairs could be replaced, but this one looks fine. Out here more away from the cities, this is a quite reasonable price for this home for what you're getting. So if a budget is a concern, then maybe look outside of the city a bit more and you'll be able to find some better homes for your money. If you're wanting to stay in the city, that's fine, but you're definitely going to get less for your money. There are 3 rooms up here on the second floor and the second toilet. Here's the first floor. No light installed, but you can see there's plenty of natural light coming in. No lack of storage space, as most Japanese homes have. Here's a nice bay window looking out to the front. Nice quiet neighborhood. Looks like all the homes are being lived in, so that's a really good sign. And this is going to be the S on the 4SLDK. This is a storage, basically just a big walk-in closet. Couple of different angles of this room. You can see the air cons there, so easily replaced. You don't have to install new electrical outlet or drill a hole. Here's the second toilet. Again, I think it's fine the way it is, but it's pretty dated, so you might want to replace that at some time. A lot of people look to buy something that's ready to live in and then wanting to do upgrades as years go by so they don't have to spend all the money up front. This is a good example of a house that would fit those needs. More closet space in the second room. Just some normal wear and tear here on the walls. Nice view. Beautiful day. There's that patio area downstairs that we saw outside of the kitchen. And a couple shots from different angles of the second room. Going out into the third room, this door was a little bit sticky, so not exactly sure what was going on there. Might be tilting in the home, really can't say. That's why we get the inspectors to come in and take a look. Another closet. Door was a little bit funky, so that might need to be replaced. Not a big deal. Maybe can be fixed with just a couple squirts of WD-40. Wooden floors, no tatami upstairs here, and you see the shingles here. They're replaced, I think, 2 years ago, and they look great. That shouldn't be a worry for many years to come. So that is a really good thing about this home. Again, it looks like the outside has also been painted. And that is the entirety of the inside of the house. Always take a look in the corners of all the rooms, see if I can see any kind of water damage. There was none that I could see here. Doesn't mean it's not there, but it's a good sign if I am not spotting it. Checking, seemed like it might be a little bit soft there, but overall not a problem. Taking a walk around the house, check the foundation for cracks. There's always going to be some cracking going on, even in homes built in mid 2000, 2005, 2007. You're still going to see some cracks, stuff like that. Look a lot better landscaping. And the thing is with a home, when you buy it, it's just, the thought is you're going to be part of the community. You want to make the neighborhood look great. People are going to be excited, so just be sure you're taking responsibility for your land, getting a landscaper in if you're not able to be there, and take care of the yard yourself if you're gone for an extended amount of time, because I know the neighbors would be greatly appreciative if this house was cleaned up, taken care of. And I think it's a really good example of a good home to consider, given the price, as long as you're okay with the location. Here's a yard area. You could have a bit of a garden back here, have some planters. For Western standards, not a huge yard, but in Japan, once you get a yard, any kind of yard, it's a great thing. So there is a second home in Nabari on the way back to Nagoya. So thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate all the comments. Like and subscribe, share the channel with someone who might be interested in Japanese real estate. Reach out anytime if you're interested in purchasing yourself. Thank you very much and have a great day.